Is Saudi market as regulated as UAE? And then I'll pass it on. Yes, we are dual regulated. We're actually the only platform based in the UAE and Saudi that's dual regulated by the CMA, the Capital Markets Authority in Saudi Arabia, and in Dubai, the Dubai Financial Services Authority. So that gives investors comfort that we're dealing with two of the top regulators in the region and quite frankly, the world.
Let me address a few of the main concerns here. So we have a question here from Ayaz about, I think, the Inspire Boulevard transaction. She's asking, or he's asking, excuse me, when construction will start. Uh, that is in the process of commencing. Actually, the design have been prepared and approved, and the project will be obtaining the permit by end of June, expected. So it's well on track as per the planning for the project. So we expect that there won't be delays there. If there are, it's like any other kind of project. And, investors are partners with the developer and the landowner, who's basically an investor in the fund as well. So there's a full alignment of interest between all parties. For again, this outsized return of 15% annualized, this is the kind of considerations that you're getting yourself into as an investor, as opposed to a stabilized asset that is like Fardan, who can start paying dividends from month seven. Um, do we have experience in such? Do we have such experience as stake in development projects in the UAE? We've typically focused our historical track record is concentrated around um, individual apartments and villas that are finished. That is not because we only chose that, but also because the regulator in the UAE limits us to ready properties. Uh, but we have recently launched our first development product, essentially, which is called Fix and Flip. We buy properties and we enhance them, and we end up, selling them in a short time span. So our experiences in that kind of development uh, activity. When it comes to Saudi, we have been doing a ton of due diligence. We have an IC that is composed of leading fund managers and industry participants. I can mention, their names. It's public knowledge. You can check our website. But we have two fund managers from Al Rashidi Capital and Riyadh Capital who are on our investment committee, and as well as the CEO of Al Jumeirah Holding, all very experienced in the market. So you can rest assured that we have done due diligence to before listing this opportunity. Uh, I will answer another question that is concerned with downside. Uh, so what happens in the case of a failed investment? So let's define what failed investment is, right? So on a property that is income generating, it's very hard to get it wrong. Because you are buying a property that is typically leased, like a Mulkiya Backyard Fund was a property that has all its tenants in place and a weighted average lease term that is more than 4 years. So it's like very predictable cash flows. So failed investment when it comes to income generating is very, unlikely or unfair to consider when you're looking at income generating assets. The max that can happen is that your dividends would be reduced because maybe some vacancy or some slowdown in rental prices happens. But as I mentioned, on Mulkiya Backyard, we have a weighted average lease term that is beyond the fund term, which can basically gives comfort that it's secured for the next 4 years, the income. And likewise, we expect the growth in the value of the property to continue as it has. Typically, assets grow with inflation, they grow with the growth in the area and the proximity to all the mega projects that are coming online in North Riyadh make Mulkiya Backyard very attractive from a capital appreciation perspective. Likewise, Fardan as well. So income generating assets in a long story short, is very hard to get wrong. When you're looking at development funds, the max that can happen is that project doesn't end up being built. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the construction permits are around the corner, and there should be no reason because there should be no reason the permits don't come uh, come in hand because the designs have been already approved, and ultimately what you're looking at is a growth of 60% in the value of the fund. If it can be lower or it can be higher, of course, nothing is guaranteed or without risk. There is no, I would say, risk of essentially losing the full amount, but partially, yes, you always trade that for the possibility, which is higher. Of course, we've done our due diligence, as I mentioned earlier, before listing any opportunity. The likelihood that it works out is a lot higher than it doesn't. So it comes with every investment.
We'll answer this one basically as someone who's been following the evolution of fractional ownership and tokenization closely, especially in the MENA region. What KPIs matter most to stake right now? Is it volume, user trust, or repeat investments? So that's an excellent question. I'll answer the first one before the second one. For us, we've been in the market now for just under 5 years. And for us, at the end of the day, we really value repeat investments and trust. And if you look at our business, and since we've launched, we have not gone outside of our values in terms of onboarding real estate from any developer. We have not gone outside our values of onboarding, properties that are not do not bring significant return to our investors. We have not expanded into markets, even though we could have. We've stayed focused and true to our investors and our mission, and really doubling down in the UAE market and giving people opportunity to invest in the UAE, but also growing into Saudi and expanding there. We also only partner with the best. And I think as a result of this, we've been able to get volume. At the end of the day, if you look at our user reviews and how much we focus on user experience, and our reply time to our investors has always been the top. And I think we have one of the highest repeat investment rates in the market. We believe in really giving our investors a great experience. So, at the end of the day, this is what matters. It's our users, our repeat investments, and by that, through by excelling on that front, we are able to get volume in return. In terms of your second question, is it also open for investors from the Indian market, or is it only Dubai and Saudi? We actually are open to any investor from anywhere in the world. So if you're someone who is in India, or if you're someone who's in the US or anywhere, you can download our app and invest in two markets from the same app. You can invest in Dubai and you can invest in Saudi. Now, I know there's some questions that have been given to us, which are you coming to Abu Dhabi? We're working on it. It's something that we really want to be part of. There's a massive upside there with what's going on, especially with the newest announcements about Disney. We believe there's massive upside in Abu Dhabi, and we're just in the process of trying to be live there. Hopefully, we'll have some exciting news for you very soon. Um, there's one question here. Apart from Saudi, like in Dubai, is the ultimate game uh, for every investment is to exit finally after some years? What if I'm in it for getting passive income? So at the end of the day, we want our investors to get two streams of income in income generating funds, or income generating properties, is to generate, healthy, consistent rental income, but also the ability to eventually exit and make money from the upside on the capital appreciation. So we always have a plan to exit, but throughout the period, that's why we have something called the exit windows to enable people to exit their properties when they need to, if they need to. But at the end of the day, for us, we really want investors to make an income and then eventually exit. So if your plan, and what you say here is for getting passive income, then you should focus on our income generating properties. We have a very healthy pipeline right now in Saudi and in Dubai. So you should focus on investing in those because that gives you consistent rental income paid monthly. Um, when do you expect both life funds to be fully funded by? Very soon. We have a lot of interest in both of the funds. We expect them to be funded within June. And, especially with the Fardan deal, which is, already the first tranche is done, second tranche is almost done. We expect that to be done very quickly. So if you are looking at both funds, I would suggest that you invest before they close out. Um, I have one here, which is thank you very much for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. Thanks to the Saudi team. Really, yeah, thank you so much for that. In the Saudi market, some investors had bad experience with some real estate funds, managers, inefficient management, overpriced valuations at buying, inflated fees, and conflicts of interest and some other remarks. How do you plan to manage that risk? We're very aware of some of the experiences investors had with certain fund managers, which is why if you look at who we've partnered with in Saudi, we've only partnered with the best fund managers, with the best property developers, the best asset managers. Similar to what we've done in Dubai, we are very selective, and maybe that comes at an expense, which we're willing to take because of the fact that by going for the best, you might not have a flood of supply on your platform, but we're okay with that because at the end of the day, just like our values in Dubai, we've transported that into Saudi Arabia. We will only focus on developers and fund managers who are the top of the market. And just so you're aware, similar to what we do in Dubai, every property or every fund that is listed on our platform goes through a third-party valuation report. We ensure that we're buying at market or below. And we ensure that we do the undertaking, all the financial due diligence, everything on every deal is done on our through our extensive team. So, as I said, we really believe in repeat investments, and at the end of the day, we want to provide a service that investors are making money long term, and they come back.
Let me try and take some of you. Rami, there's a question about the front end load, the 2%, how will it be calculated? That's applied to your subscription amount. So if you invest 1,000 riyals, you'll essentially be charged 20 plus VAT. I think it answers another question, that is how VAT is applied. It's applied only on the 2% subscription fee. Construction partners, any secured agreements so far? There's a huge expectation of demand for construction experts that exceeds current offers. I think one of the points that Rami made earlier is that the partners that we pick are diligenced thoroughly. And so, for instance, the partner that we chose to work with on the fix and lease on Al Fardan is Sarid. They are a property manager, and we will oversee the CapEx spend on the building to enhance it so that we can normalize the rents to market. And Sarid is very experienced in the market for property management and such value add opportunities. They're a reliable party. We know the CEO quite well. The gentleman used to run the portfolio for Masharia, one of the largest developers and most reliable ones in Riyadh, owned by Mlahid Al Saidan. That's for Fardan, to give you an idea. Obviously, Mulkiya Backyard was a already finished property from Rush 87th, one of the leading commercial real estate developers in Riyadh. And lastly, RASF for the Inspire Boulevard fund is as I mentioned, one of the leading private developers in the market, has built a ton of properties successfully, has a great reputation in the market. When you add that, as well as Tharawat's real estate DNA coming from the Al Musa and the Al Salman families, you have a very strong combination of real estate experts who can deliver on the construction commitments really well. Mawan is Tharawat's project management firm who is going to be supervising the developer very closely. How can you see the impact of the new direction set by the KSA government towards white lands and unoccupied assets? What would be a state strategy to deal with the new regulations? It's a very good question. The latest wave of reforms from the regulators and leadership in Saudi Arabia have been really geared towards both more transparency and more affordability. After a rally in the property market or into areas that are speculative sometimes, uh, what I think the government wanted to do is to clamp down on that. What we see as our strategy to tackle this, when you look at, for instance, the white land tax, that's going to lead to more development and more less speculative trading of lands because if you don't build, you will be subject to up to 10% as a tax. We feel very strongly that that is why we have a very strong bias for prime areas. Um, the Inspire Boulevard location could not be more prime in front of the Riyadh Boulevard, again, in Al Balgada district. It's expected to be completely unaffected by this white land law, um, white land tax law. When it comes to the transparency reforms, that's very much welcomed for us. It's a sign that the market is maturing. It gives us predictability on our underwriting models when we look at rentability and pricing of assets. And so both these kind of reforms are very much welcomed for us as an investor to give us more comfort, confidence that it's headed in the right direction, that it's being managed responsibly, and that the regulators are focused on the right things. So from our perspective, we take a lot of comfort from these things. And our strategy to deal with them is really by selecting prime assets that will be unaffected by any kind of the volatility in the market due to those changes.
Um, there's a question here about with the development around tokenization, do you see any tangible benefits to tokenization of properties? If so, are you exploring that as a future product feature? That's a great question. So we've been getting a lot of questions about tokenization in the last, week or so. And effectively, fractionalization, tokenization is pretty similar. Difference is obviously there's an SPV in the DIFC versus direct ownership on the title deed. We like that there's an SPV because obviously it's an extra layer of protection. Having said that, tokenization is a new way of fractionalization, and we're keeping a close eye on it. It's very new, and for us, we before we jump into anything, we really think of our investors first. And before we get clarity on kind of the full process, how the ownership works, and just how the safeguards is set up for our investors, we won't be rolling out anything before we get that certainty. Having said that, if we see that tokenization, once we understand from the regulators, whether it's VADA or the Dubai Land Department, that this is something that we can scale, then we will definitely be offering that. So, stay tuned. It's not something that we're not looking into. We just want to make sure that before we jump into something, that this is an experience and a platform that our investors will benefit more from than the current setup. So definitely stay tuned for that. Most importantly, 80% of my investments are in crypto. Is that something that you could be accepting soon? Yeah, listen, something that we're speaking to the regulator about. Again, before we jump into anything, we always like to get the regulator comfortable and ensure that our investors are protected. So we're in the process of discussing that. And as soon as we get clarity, our investors and our users will be the first to know. Um, Would is it easy to invest in REITs? I'll leave that for you if you want. Any commercial opportunities in Dubai coming up soon? So we've been working with the regulator on this for a long time now. And unfortunately, under the current framework, they weren't very comfortable with it. However, with the new kind of regulatory announcements that have been made out of the LD and VARA, it seems that commercial properties might be allowed soon. So please stay tuned. We already have a pipeline, a fantastic and exciting pipeline in Dubai for commercial real estate. So as soon as we're able to get the go-ahead from the regulator, we will let you know. But it's something that we're definitely eyeing, as we've been saying for a long time. It's in our pipeline. And just like we do commercial properties in Saudi Arabia right now, you'll be able to invest in both commercial in Saudi and in Dubai. And I'll say, the opportunities in both countries are great. Uh, Last question here. Would tokenization be more profitable for investors? No, that's not the case. At the end of the day, it's really about the real estate and the returns that you can get from both aspects. And at the end of the day, if we see that tokenization will enable a way where investors can make higher returns and lesser fees, then that's something we'll definitely immediately jump into because at the end of the day, it makes sense for investors. So yeah, stay tuned, and if we get into that, you'll be the first to know. The best property developer in Dubai is not even locally based. I'm talking about Discovery Dunes. Are you guys going to put up their properties? To be honest with you, the best property developer in Dubai is in Dubai, or the best property developers in Dubai are in Dubai. And this is no bias, this is based on total market value and transactions. But we're always open to looking at other developers. But as you've seen from our platform since we've launched, we only focus on the premium developers that are based in Dubai and have operated and delivered consistent quality and returns for investors.
Is it easy to invest in REIT on stock market rather than crowdfunding platforms? Right. So in Saudi, there's a very active, number of REITs that are listed on the Tadawul Stock Exchange, as I mentioned earlier. They're, I think, 7 or 8 at least out of the 12 have underperformed historically. And one structural flaw in publicly listed REITs we feel very strongly is really doing a disservice to investors is that it is subject to the stock market volatility. And so, as an instrument, it has its flaws as compared to buying a private real estate fund through stake. Is it easier? I would say it's not because, you would need to go through a broker. Nowadays there's brokers available locally, mostly for Saudi residents. A number of digital platforms give you access to stocks, and through those same players, you can access the REITs that are listed on the stock market. But for foreigners and then non-residents, it's a lot more complicated because those platforms are not available to you, and so it's not easy to access the REIT market, despite the instrument, as I mentioned, the product being suboptimal in our view. With us, it's really a few clicks away, an app that is very it's built on user feedback. Essentially, it's a Shopify way of buying into these investment products. We feel very strongly that, and we have a lot of delighted customers on board our platform that we get a ton of feedback from. So we're building a world-class product for you guys to make it as easy as shopping on Amazon. The proceeds from stake, are they taxed? So if you're a resident in Saudi, they're not. You're getting the exact return that is shown on the fund. If you are based abroad, then all profits, be it your dividends or the realized capital appreciation at exit, all components of profit are taxed a withholding tax of 5% upon distribution. So when you get it, you will get a deduction of 5% that goes to the FTA in Saudi Arabia. Typically, a non-rented property, how much could it stay like that? And typically, how long, for example, ready properties become rented. Also, when the property is rented already, and why rent dividends is usually 2 to 3 months later. That's a very good question. So let's start by looking at residential real estate. Um, if you're buying in a very prime property, in a very prime location, the demand for the rent should stay solidly strong. Uh, in Saudi Arabia specifically, there is an undersupply of quality furnished, even serviced apartments for both local population, domestic migration coming from other cities to Riyadh, as well as foreign expats that are taking up increased amount of jobs in the city. You're coming from a place of very strong over demand and undersupply. The vacancy risk is as close to minimal as it gets globally speaking for any real estate. So it wouldn't stay vacant for very long when it comes to ready properties in the residential market. And when the rent is paid, the dividends would start immediately because rent is paid in advance. And so we would budget for costs and distribute immediately on a monthly basis. There's no wait. Now, you might be referring to the wait that we have on Al Fardan at the moment because it's a fixed lease. So what we will be doing while there are existing tenants in the building, and some of them, may decide to move because what we are doing is going to enhance the building facilities, the entrance, some of the apartments to upgrade them, and that will allow us also to ask for higher rents to be normalized to the market because they are quite underpriced for the residential product that Al Fardan, apartments represent essentially in this location. Most the professionals that work in Al Fasaliya Tower or Kingdom Tower, a lot of them, most of them actually, most of the tenants are these professionals that want to live close to their work, and they are paying under market at the moment. In the transition to increase the rents by about 30%, we could get some vacancies. That's why we've modeled a 6 month renovation period, and then we start paying dividends from month 7. When it comes to commercial properties, we're buying finished backyard finished commercial and retail plazas that are already have their anchor tenants, and any vacancies we'd have to deal with. But for the most part, our focus is to ensure that rents are there before we kind of acquire, so that dividends are predictable going forward. It's only for buying not vacant properties that we would run the risk of longer than expected ramp up in rents. But again, I'll just end by saying undersupplied, both residential and commercial market. Companies need offices. They can't find any. Even Stake ourselves a year and a half ago couldn't find. But we managed to secure a very attractive location in Hattin district, but there are not enough quality offices in the market for all the demand from companies coming in, and likewise for all the residents that are moving to Riyadh. If you withhold, this is the last question I'll take. If you withhold 5% on my profit, will you issue me any documents? That's a good question. The fund manager is the one who is reporting to the Federal Tax Authority and has to make those payments. Is there a document that comes back? I'm not sure. We could come back to you, Khalid, and confirm this point. But you can rest assured that both us and the fund manager will be complying with the rules and regulations that apply for this reason. And so we could get back to you if you require a document for that 5% that is deducted from your dividends.
Cool. I think we've answered all the available questions. This has been great. We should be doing more of these, and we will. If you do have any more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and our team. We'd be more than happy to answer all of them. As we've always said, we'll always be pushing out content to really show you exactly what's happening in Saudi, what are we doing in Dubai, and we'll always update you on our latest developments. And again, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your questions. And thank you for really following the stake. Our commitment to you is always to provide you with the transparency, the credibility, and the best investments in both the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. Thank you for your time. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us for any questions that you have. Have a great day.
See you soon.